I want to present to you my good and dear friend Elizabeth Luis. She's an educator. She's a harp player. She's an amazing, amazing musician. And most recently, she's the sweetest of all moms that I've ever known. And I am very honored and very blessed, highly blessed to have been able to make this wonderful collaboration with her with in the song Durme Durme, Ladino song. And so today we're going to be learning a couple of things about her. Not today, but in the next couple of segments, we will be learning a couple of things about her life and her musicianship and our friendship and how this song is so important and so relatable to her own life. And we will learn some more about the harp. Now, let's talk about the harp. So this song, it is a folk song. It is a traditional Sephardic song in the language of Ladino. For those who don't know, Ladino is the Judeo-Spanish language. And it is a language that was formed right after it started with the Jewish people who lived in Sfarad or Spain. Sfarad is the name in Hebrew. After they were expelled from Spain in 1492 and on, and they were traveling all over Europe. And as they traveled from place to place, they were picking up languages from one place to the other. And mainly there are four languages that are mostly used in the Ladino, but we're concentrating right here in Spanish and the Judeo-Spanish, all right? And so Ladino, it's a beautiful, beautiful language that for one who speaks Spanish is very easy to understand because most of it is Spanish. This song has been recorded in like 1,000 versions. It has been recorded by everyone in the face of the earth. But when I heard this song specifically, I thought about the song, the beautiful message that the song has, just the melody by itself. And it is a lullaby. It's a traditional Sephardic lullaby. And so for those who have seen the video on YouTube, it has the translation there. It's a mother lullabying her baby. And, it has such powerful words that any mother, it doesn't matter if it's a Jewish mother, if it's not a Jewish mother, this is a song that transcends cultures and religion because it is a song that it talks about the love of a mother to his, child, to her child. Mm-hmm. And so the funny thing is that when I approached Elizabeth was pregnant with her baby boy. And so everything played out in a way where, well, I will tell you that a little later, but everything played out in a way that everything came out just perfect, in perfect timing and everything. But I thought about the harp because, first of all, when we listen to the harp, it's kind of like, every time I talk to someone, they say, oh, the harp, it's just so peaceful. It's just so calming, so soothing. And I thought, well, what better than a harp with this lullaby, yes. Right? Mm-hmm. And so when we talk about the harp also in relation to the Sephardic music, well, the harp, it's an instrument that it's very emblematic of the Israelis or the history of the people of Israel and therefore for the Jewish people, right? So we can find the harp that, like I said at the beginning, the instrument that would give life to the harp. It is mentioned in the book of Genesis in the Bible for the first time. There was a guy, I like to call him a guy called Jubal. And Jubal was the first instrument crafter in the Bible. And it says that he crafted what it's known as a lyre, but really the name, it's kinnor. It's a kinnor, and it was a 10-string instrument. So I want to talk about the harp, and I want you to tell me from your end, because you know more than me about the harp.
Well, I love that, what you were just explaining, the history of the harp from that cultural perspective, because that that's news for me as well. It kind of adds to my knowledge of the history of the instrument. My knowledge of the history of the instrument that you see here sitting in front of you, that is a fairly new iteration of the lyre. You know, the original kind of bowed piece of wood with a few pieces of string in between. You know, the gut strings. So this instrument kind of being this staple of storytelling. You know, the bard or the troubadour would go around with his instrument, with his lyre, and tell stories through song. This is just what we've been doing forever.
For years, yes.
Forever. So, right. But the instrument then kind of morphed into this that you see behind me, which is a double action pedal harp. And that came around in the early 19th century. Early to mid 19th century, the single action pedal harp leading to the double action pedal harp. So, you know, the harps that the troubadours would have played on wouldn't have had any ability to manipulate the pitch of the string, but now I can manipulate the pitch of my string with sharps and flats and play a lot more, you know, different genres, different styles of music.
Right.
So it's just, for me, it's kind of like a continuation of storytelling. You know, that I get to do this behind my instrument, this modern day harp.
Right.
Continue to tell a story. So, in a nutshell, my understanding of the history of the instrument, it's come a long way. It's been around forever, but this instrument itself is new.
If we look into the lyre or the navel, the psaltery, how, you know, it's supposed to be in the Bible, it's very different. It's very small.
Very small.
It's very small. We know that the harp, as we know it today, it obviously derives from it because of its form, the way that it's played, the plucking of the strings and everything. But it's very different. Now, why I've seen that kind of harp, they also call it a Celtic harp. Do you know why is that?
Why they call it a Celtic instrument,
right?
Other than the tradition of the harp in the Celtic world, you know, the Irish, the troubadours, you know, the Celtic. I do believe that you know, the terminology Celtic coming from not just the instrument but the style of music. You know, I believe the jigs and the reels, you know, that kind of style of music. And it's my understanding that Celtic music, for the harpist, generally they won't use their fourth finger as much. So that it's really different with the technique with them as well. So it's just, they approach the music in a very different way. So you can call, I mean, I have a Celtic harp might imply more of the tradition of the Ireland, Irish or Scottish, Welsh, you know, lineage. But it can also, in the harp world, it also implies the size of the instrument. We wouldn't call this a Celtic harp. Right. The Celtic harp, it's smaller. It's much smaller. Right. It's much smaller. Right. When I think about the harp and how it just, it's interrelated to the Sephardic music, to me, it has a significance as a Sephardi. It has it has a lot of weight because it brings me back to our forefathers. It is recorded that they will be using that kind of instrument whenever they will receive the men when they were coming from battles, whenever they were having their holy convocations to pray, you know, and so on. As the time went by, you know, it's part of the liturgy, it's part of the prayers. It's the harp became, well, it is so important that look at David. King David and the harp, you know, the attributes that the harp has been given as far as having, you know, God using it with a healing power, that he were able to heal King Saul, you know, from his oppression, just playing the harp. So to me, it personally, it has such a beautiful meaning. And when you put it together with this specific song, just, you know, delivering a word of
a positive word and prophetic positive word unto your child as you rock him to sleep.
Yes. Amen.
So to me, it was so perfect.